Hey pals, it's Holmes from Storybooks and welcome back to another video. This video is about something I've called the Fury Effect. The title for this video was really inspired by one film that came out a few years ago, Mad Max Fury Road. I had no intention of seeing this film. I assumed it wasn't my sort of film and was happy to miss seeing it in the cinema until a group of very vocal men's rights activists and unhappy cisgender men started decrying its feminist backstory. They hated Furiosa, they hated how little screen time Max apparently had, and they hated the entire premise. Well, sign me up. After seeing this righteous outcry, I purchased a ticket to the cinema to see it with my dad the next day. It was a great film with a wonderful setting, a really powerful story, and a very magnetic cast. If these men hadn't complained so vocally, had simply let the film go, I never would have seen it and fallen in love with it. So that is the premise for the Fury Effect. We are starting with The Pants Project by Clarke. This is a middle grade novel about a trans student who does not want to wear a skirt as they don't identify with the sex they were assigned at birth. Queer and trans middle grade, I've already RSVP'd, I've already signed up, I am already there. What caught my eye looking this book up in the library catalogue is one particular review. This review is spectacular. Indoctrinate much? This is on the recommended list for a 4th grader. I can't believe you're pushing this agenda to normalize homosexuality. I'm not impressed with the recommendation. Iconic. Now I have to read this book. Let me pry open its pages and see what the gay agenda has to offer. The actual book itself, I wasn't impressed with. I loved the premise, but the execution was so poor and so flat. The writing really lacked any sense of atmosphere. The majority of the book was the main character, Liv, saying, I did this, and then this happened in PE class, and then X character did this. Having just finished The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Barnhill, where each character is fully formed and complex and set against a beautiful background with lore and so much detail, I wanted so much more from the Pants Project. I liked the main character and their friend Jacob. The other characters, however, were completely one-dimensional. The author's attempt to normalize a queer family, Liv has 2 mums, meant chapter after chapter was boring and dry. Few things happened in this book except I was teasing class and my mom asked how my day was and my little brother was annoying. Yes, there were some good moments, but this book probably would have been more interesting if I chewed its pages. I want to talk more about this book in a separate discussion video where I discuss why my expectations were so high and why I feel so emotional at my dislike of it. There are more and more queer and trans books published every year, and yet, it still feels like there is not enough. So when I picked up this book, I thought, this will be it. I will love this. I will love it because of its themes and its characters, and it will capture my heart, and it didn't. Anyway, I'll talk about minority expectations of a book at a later date. For now, I'll return it to the library where hopefully it will be someone's new favorite. On to one I definitely did love, This One Summer by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki. This is about Rose and Wendy, 2 13-year-old girls who spend a summer at the lake. Except this year is different. Rose's parents are fighting in a way they haven't before. It's quiet and it's emotional and it's captivating. I came home from my shift at 9:30, thought I'd start the book at 10:30 p.m. and I didn't put it down until I finished it. It is beautifully illustrated in a monochromatic style and I loved its vulnerability, its complexity, its readability. Deceptively simple, deceptively quiet, the Tamakis have an evocative story to tell. I love it to bits. Look at how many awards it's won or been nominated for. Just look at them. Now, it is one of the American Library Association's most challenged books of 2018, coming in at number 7. The reason it is banned or challenged is because of its profanity, its sexual references, and its teen pregnancy references. I knew that going in. What I didn't know was that so many people dislike the main character, Rose. Looking at the Goodreads reviews, some people are just tearing her to shreds. They say she's judgmental, that she's sexist, that she's immature, that she was nothing special. I can assure you at 13, I was also judgmental and sexist and immature and nothing special. That's why this book is good. At 13, my parents were also divorcing and I said plenty of inflammatory and queerphobic things to myself and to other people that I knew. I don't understand the need to like a character in order to be able to see where they're coming from, to relate to them, to enjoy the story. This book gets 4 stars, and anyone who doesn't like the book because of Rose can fight me. The next book on this list is This Day in June by Gayle Pitman and illustrated by Krystin Litten. It is a gorgeous picture book about the history of pride parades and LGBTQ culture. It has stunning, vivid illustrations with lots of detail, beautiful rhymes, and super accessible language. There is even a pride guide in the back to talk about each of the references on all of the pages and for talking about pride and its movements to certain age groups. In 2017, two parents tried to have this book removed from the library in West Chicago, Illinois, but the library board voted to retain it in the children's section. The book was also challenged in Hood County, Texas in 2015 and retained by the library, although they compromised, quote unquote, by moving it to the adult section. In particular, it was one of Edmonton Public Library's most challenged picture books. The book has been banned or challenged for LGBTQ imagery. It has also been burned. Think about that. Think about the fact that this book has been burned. Who burns a picture book? This book has been through it, everyone. In terms of the actual context of the book, I loved it. I thought it was vivid and fun and wish there was more text on the page, but it's so fun to flip through and look at all the illustrations and pick up all the details. The drag queen page is definitely my favorite. 4 stars. On my to read pile for this section is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. It is one of the American Library Association's most challenged books of 2017 and 2018. Coming in at number 4, it was challenged and banned because of its anti-cop status, profanity, drug use, and sexual references. Again, I won't recap the plot because it's so popular, but it is about a young girl who loses her friend to police violence and racism in America. It won awards from the American Library Association. It has been nominated for so many more. It was on the New York Times bestseller list for 50 weeks. I feel like I'm not going to get into this book soon enough before it has to go back to the library. It has 6 people waiting despite having 113 copies in circulation. But that makes me happy. I love that it's such a highly circulated item. Let's see if I can crack the 30-page curse and move beyond wherever I get stuck whenever I read this book before it has to go back. The next book in this selection is a picture book, and it is The Waiting Dog by Carolyn Beck. It is about a dog who is waiting to eat the mailman when he comes to deliver the post. It is supposed to be a children's horror book. In 2006, this book was challenged at Burlington Public Library, Ontario, for its depictions of violence described by a parent as revolting and vile. It was also challenged in Canada in 2010 for violence, offensive language, being age inappropriate, and having obscene content language in pictures. One of the reviews on this page is truly repulsive. It will turn your stomach. The accompanying rating is 1/2 star. Anywhere I look on Goodreads and the library and on the website, on Amazon, all of them say, stay away from this book. It is so disgusting and vile. I'll leave you with a little bit of the book itself. I dream of you every day in my spot. By the slot, I sit and wait and salivate. I'm curious. How bad could this be? How detailed is it? What are the illustrations like? What's inside? I'm getting chills. The last book on my Fury Effect book pile is Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan. This was on number 11 on the American Library Association's most challenged book list of 2018. Told in the ancient Greek chorus style, a group of men who passed away from HIV/AIDS tell the story of two boys falling in love. It was also challenged and burned, so there's that. Interestingly, I see a pattern of LGBTQ books being burned, while other books that are also challenged, banned, or restricted are not burned. I get the message loud and clear, folks. I'm not going to read it yet because I like to read one young adult book at a time, but there is a reason I picked this book up. A queer youth recommended this to me. He's 12 years old, and this book, next to This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson, is his favorite book of all time. The way he gushes about this book fills my heart with queer joy. How could I resist? That's it. That's all for this Fury Effect book list. What are some books you've read where people rave about how terrible it is and then you love it for exactly the reasons they hate it? Let's talk about all the things. Books being burnt, the gay agenda, the Fury Effect. I'm here for all of it. Bye everyone.